Hi everyone, Curtis here from Goth Rider Creations, and in today's episode we are going to sort out the scratch plate and the electronics for this guitar. Stay tuned. So, now we're getting to the pointy end of this build. We're now going to start on something that's a little bit more familiar to me. Custom fabrication, a little bit of metal work and some electronics. This is going to be good. So, what I've done is I have taken the existing S-type scratch plate from good old donor here, stripped it down, so got all of the coils off, pickups, you know, whatever, all the pots and everything. I have been playing indoors in my spare time, watching movies with Mrs. Goth Rider and sitting there with a pad and pen, so I've planned out what I'm going to do. Took that and then we knocked out a facsimile in CAD. Cardboard aided design. Yes, I've stolen that from Bad Obsession Motorsport and I don't care. Nick, Rich, love you guys. So, that was that, basically because I had cut a slightly different design for the neck, so this wouldn't fit. So I cut this out a little bit wider so then I could see that everything lined up with what I'd already done. So that was that. Then I used a templating technique from my days in the props world, which is basically as simple as it sounds. You cover the front of the guitar in masking tape, a few layers, and then you just trace out the design you want. So after a couple of hours, we came up with this. So I don't know if you're going to see that. In fact, hang on, let me go for some more light, maybe that'll help. So we have got this shape. Now I've just drawn on the pickup holes, and then I worked out some drill points for mounting screws because that was the simplest way to go. This is a template that's mostly used for making masks and helmets and armor and things like that, out of foam or whatever. It's much easier on surfaces just to mummify it in tape, cut out the design you need, and then you have a template that you can work with. So lined it with paper, done. Then we come to the other CAD designed scratch plate, this time out of the favourite cereal packet cardboard, and then we've marked out the positions for the controls, the switches, the drill points for all of the mounting holes, and yeah, so this is what we need to recreate. So I've got a couple of options for scratch plate material. I do kind of like the timber ones that people do, but they end up being too thick, and we've got enough good Balsa in that thing, so we're not going to go for that. Now, what I did consider was some sparkly stuff that we have here. This was leftover paneling from when I redid the bathroom recently, which I thought was quite nice, but it doesn't really fit the theme, and at the end of the day, it might not be as obvious, but I'm metal at heart and I need a little bit of metal in this guitar, so we've gone old school thrash metal checker plate. So this is 2mm thick aluminium checker plate, so we're using this. So all I've got to do, trace it out from here, get the Dremel out, cut it all out, and done. So there you have it. A lot of work, but one checker plate, aluminium, scratch plate, all done. It does take a while to cut the things out with the Dremel, but I didn't want to use the jigsaw because the amount of noise it makes, it hurts my head. The idea of cutting any metal on a jigsaw, just not fun. So that's all done. I did hit a couple of spots when I was sanding the outside, and it kind of went through and scratched it, and I wasn't happy. So I used an old weathering technique from the props days, which is a steel wire wheel on the Dremel. It kind of slightly melts the aluminium and then will cut out any of the blemishes. It also kind of slightly ages it, which gives it a really nice texture. Americans call it patina, but I like it. I think it looks really cool. So, you know, I was always told if you make a mistake, you've got two options. You either fix it or you make a feature out of it and then tell everyone you meant to do it that way. So there you have it. We've got the, I still can't remember the word pickups. It does my head in. So yeah, got the pickups done there. I've got the holes for the controls, the holes for mounting it on. Unfortunately, I don't have the right size drill bit for these screws, so I'll have to dig out my other sets of drill bits wherever they are. But yeah, this is basically done. I'll probably have to do a bit of oversizing for the pickups once I actually get them in there. But yeah, there we have it. So next job is to bring in the electronics and we can start wiring this thing. So that's all done, and now we're on to the wiring. Now, like I said, I have simplified the hell out of this because I don't need all the crazy. Again, not player, so I don't see the point in having, you know, 6 different tones and a volume for each pot and a volume for each pickup. I swear I'm going to learn that phrase. But yeah, I don't need all those extra electronics and whatever else. You know, I've only got the 2 single coil pickups, and that's it. So we've gone for a single tone, single volume, and literally the ones I ripped out of this one. We've got the traditional S-type scratch plate in black. Very nice. And I've decided to go for mini toggles rather than the big clunky 5-way switch. It looks like you're changing gear on a small car. It's not for me. So we've got those, and that's it. Now what I've done here is I've bench tested it all, which I think is always a great way of doing these kind of things. If you're not sure about electronics, if you're a bit phobic of it, a lot of people are, to be fair. I think it's pretty much just me and the big unit over here, but yeah, it's not, I don't want to say it's not that hard. You do need a little bit of experience, but once you've got an idea for it, it's like anything. So all I've done, and I recommend getting hold of some of these. They are crocodile clip ends. You can pick these up eBay, Amazon, anywhere. You can usually get like 10 of them for a couple of quid. I made these myself many years ago because I had the bits. The other stuff that you would want to get is, I don't know what they're called in America, but we call them connector blocks. Some electricians back in the days used to call them click blocks or screw blocks. And they are literally just a screw either end. You poke the wires in, tighten it down, that's it. If you can wire a plug, it's that simple. So what I've done is any of the points where I wanted to join a wire, I literally just used one of these connector blocks, connect 2 wires. Here we go, perfect example. Anywhere where I didn't have a wire already, like the terminals on the ends of the pots, I just used one of these crocodile clips and I just clipped it on. So that there is now your earth. So you just trace it all out. I found a wiring diagram online. Warwick Guitars, brilliant. I'm going to be getting pickups from those guys. The wiring diagrams are so simple, they're fantastic. Now that had a 3-way switch, but other than that, It's exactly the same as everything I've got here, so I've traced that through, and then the only difference is I'm going to, I think I can go 3-way on these, but it's basically on, off, on, or it's on either way and off, I can't remember. I'm just going to use these as 2-pole switches, so there's going to be 3 switches, one for each coil, so I've got a kill switch for each, and then I'm going to have a third one for the LEDs, so it should look nice and neat. So all we're going to do is double check the wiring diagram. Another thing you can do if you're really not sure about what's where, get a scrap of board and just draw it on. Literally work out where your coils are going to go, if you know, or you could even stick them in a scratch plate. You know, physically put them inside there, screw them down, screw in all your switches, and then you've got it all set up as you would with any guitar cavity. But if you're really not sure of the routing, draw it all on, put some lines on there, and then just place the things on there, and you know, could make life a lot easier. Anyway, let's get started. Right, theoretically that should do it. So we are going to grab the jack, yes, I like to bench test everything before I do everything final. It just makes more sense, really. And everyone wondering about, you know, me doing like some crazy, you know, sound test and whatever else. This is my amp. Okay, you're gonna have to pull back the expectations slightly. So we have it on full volume, overdrive. Yeah. Right, now let's see what happens here. So I don't know which way these switches go, so let's just try. Oh, straight off the bat. So well, I've done something wrong. Let me get back to you. Let's try that again. Hopefully for the last time. Right, so we got nothing there. Volume is up and then top. Is volume up. Oh, come on, don't mess with me. You just fix one thing. Oh, there we go. Top, bottom, top off, bottom on, both off. That was fun. So yes, that's always the best way with the fault finding, because I see a lot of people worrying about what's what. Go one by another by another. If one of the coils isn't working, work out just that line of the circuit. If one of the coils is working, then your pot's fine. If you know, if the tone's not messing with anything, you don't mess with that. So in that situation, one of the coils was working, one wasn't. So we knew the jack was working, we knew the amp was working, we knew the volume and everything else. So the only two components it could be was the pickup or the switch. And then, as you say, just one after another, isolate one thing, isolate another thing, and then you know where your problem is. I've known people replace like entire electronics, and it's always the last component that they tried which was the issue, so you never know. But yeah, that needs a bit of tidying up, and I need to sort out the permanent connections for the jack socket and the LEDs, but for basic soldering, that's all done. So I think, I'm going to call that for the night, because I think the dinner bell is calling, and I'll see you tomorrow for finishing the last of this stuff. So, another day, well, another late evening. I have been messing around a little bit off camera, getting the last of the electronics sorted out, making sure everything was right, tightening down all the switches, but now we have our completed scratch plate. Everything all done. So, there we have it, all the electronics, and what we've done, because I don't know if all S-types are like this or just the botched repaired version that I got, but I had to cut the earth wire, and I had to cut a couple of other wires, including the jack socket, to actually get the scratch plate off, and that seems really redundant to me. If you want to work on the electronics, or you want to sort something out in the guitar, you don't really want to be resoldering wires each time. So what I've done is I have used motorcycle style bullet connectors. I do have loads of them, so for me it's quite normal. You get packs like this for like £6 online. I use them a lot for motorcycle wiring looms, because these are the standard connectors for most Japanese bikes. But you can get even the cheap simple connectors. I don't even know if I have any here, but generally when you buy packs of wire strippers, they come with like the little blue and red connectors. Those would also work perfectly fine. Get yourself a nice pair of crimpers, but it's easy enough. And the reason for this is it should be absolutely easy to get this connected. Now what I've done is I have just wedged in and double-sided taped a 9-volt battery into where the other pickup would be, and I've literally just super glued some wires onto the end of it, because I don't have a P9, I think it's P9, the 9-volt connector, which is slightly annoying. But now that this is done, it should be as simple as slot in the jack socket with 2 screws, and And then we've got the 2 wires for the LEDs, and then the 2 wires for here. Either try and go standardized on your wiring colors, or just make sure you remember which color goes where. Otherwise that can be a bit of a pain. I have routed it so the 2 wires that I need for the jack socket are female, and then the 2 wires that I need for the LEDs are male, so I can't screw up which goes where. Theoretically you could screw up the earth, or the negative and the positive on the jack socket, but that's ones that I have made sure are definitely color coded correct, so there shouldn't be an issue. So that's that one, and then just to make life easier I went orange to orange and black to green, because neutral, earth. I ran out of colours, alright. So that's it. So those are all 4 wires connected, and unless I have completely screwed anything up, this should just slot on. When I have a bit more time I will route the cables a bit better, but there we have it. And we also have the glow. So all I've got to do is screw this down, and then we can start assembling this thing. I wasn't ever sure I'd be able to say those words with a straight face, but yeah, we're actually going to assemble this guitar. Oh, alright, let's do it. Done. Right, one set of tested and sure out electronics. One of the reasons why this is a little bit late, I finished work about 4 hours ago. I came in here thinking it was just going to be a quick setup of electronics and done. Turns out that there was an intermittent electrical fault and I couldn't work it out anywhere, and I was just freaking out that, you know, I'd done all that work and there was nothing. And you know, I said earlier that you go one component by another and check. Now, where I did those bullet connectors, I was worried that the crimp that I had done wasn't good enough, so I think I wasted about 6 of them. I kept recrimping and recrimping the wires, and I still had this intermittent electrical fault, and I thought it was connecting the jack socket because it kept on clicking in and out with the amp. And then after a lot of messing around, I discovered, let's turn that off so we don't get awful feedback, that the last thing I checked was the 1¼ inch. And if you look here, you can see I've had to do a rather bodged repair because the inner core had disconnected from the solder joint. It was obviously a cheap, dry solder joint, and it had literally knocked the wire out. So all of the work I did, chasing and chasing and chasing every little issue, and it turns out to be the cable. So yeah, I'll be buying a new one of those. But we have now tested this thing and it works. So, can't believe I'm saying this, the last thing I have to do is to put this thing together. Hi everyone, Curtis here from the future again. Now, yeah, what can I let you know? We're on our 4th Chancellor this month. The UK economy hasn't completely imploded just yet, but yeah, Prime Minister Ryland seems to be doing quite well, and yeah, I'm collecting bottle caps just in case the pound does become useless pretty soon. But yeah, that's all I can let you know. So yeah, continuity time again. So I think we're going to leave it there. We've done as much as we can on that front. So electrics are done, scratch plates done, and in the next episode we're actually going to get this thing assembled and we'll be done. God, it was a stressful time. But yes, so that's all sorted. So thank you very much for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please comment, let me know what you think. I know I'm no expert when it comes to electrics, but if I can give anyone any advice or any assistance, then I've done something right. So yeah. Anyway, everyone take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.